hardcore New Yorker. Okay. I grew up in New York and
No,
LA.
I grew up in LA. I've been here since I was 3.
That's what I mean. You're
But
more of an
by
LA
New,
girl than I am.
yeah.
So, executive producer, fashion police. You know how this business works. So I think this crown on your head, this headband today has got you in the holiday spirit. Look, maybe I'm just a cynical New Yorker, but you know how this business works, girl. I don't think they were like, let's do a PSA teaching moment from Bravo. That's just me. I think
Yeah.
it's a great byproduct. Let's
So
kill two birds with one stone. But I think they were like, oh, that Bethenny Frankel and this one. And yes, this was filmed before, all of that, but still, I think they broke the fourth wall to say, just when all the lawsuits start or potential lawsuits, to shut all of them down, let's show that we did the right thing in this situation. It's my
so
opinion.
and I have one very cynical friend who said what you just said, that they made sure they showed it to avoid lawsuits later.
My
But
mind always goes to a lawsuit. I can't help it.
those top executives at Bravo this year thought it was safe to go back in the water, and then just when they can say let's go to the holiday company holiday party, a drug scandal breaks out. So this couple, their last name is Martinez. He's supposedly a doctor. I guess he is a urologist. They have managed to be on 3 episodes of Below Deck, 2 on Below Deck Med, which is Captain Sandy, and 1 is Sailing Yacht. They just were busted. Tell the story.
So, and I mean, at first I had to read it so many times because at first, so like they're using cast members' names, which
Yeah.
I am so confused. This story really intrigues me more. Like, so they're using cast members' names to write fake prescriptions. And so I guess the wife, because the husband's a urologist, went to pick up one of these fake prescriptions and somebody realized she wasn't the person or the signature didn't match. But like, I thought they were using other charter guest names because they've been on 3 times, which I don't even know how you get on Below
Well,
Deck 3 times and just fade
by
into
the
the
way,
background.
they were
Yeah.
never primaries. They were always somebody else's guest.
That makes it even almost as strange. Like you just have 3 random friends that ended up on Below Deck. I mean, are these
Well,
Below Deck stalkers?
yeah, well, no. One of the friends went on the show. What the primary went on the show
Twice.
twice and brought their
Okay.
friends both times, and then the one on Sailing Yacht was a bro trip, which was one of the most awful episodes to watch on Below Deck Sailing Yacht, where you're just like, oh my God, these guys are awful
They were just a nightmare.
and beyond a nightmare. So I want, how long do you think this was going on for? Has the New York Post told us yet?
No, but I want to know like what names are you using? Like, are you writing prescription for Captain Sandy Yawn? Prescriptions for Lee RHOBH? Like, I mean, I don't
Captain
understand.
Glenn.
Right. Like Aisha Scott doesn't even live in here in the States. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just think it's so crazy and funny in a way. Like, these are the names you choose if you want to run a fake prescription. And I think it was for like Oxy. I think it was all
Yeah.
for Oxy. So they just, and then I guess what? They're getting the drugs and now they're selling them. I guess how this is working, I guess.
I feel like this was the Bravo universe's way of giving me a Hanukkah / holiday gift.
You love a good below deck scandal.
Oh, and the fact I do, I feel like I must have done something really good this year because the universe has lined up and ended my year with a major below deck story.
And this one is maybe just starting. Like, I mean, maybe this will just fade into oblivion. But I mean, there's a lot of questions I still have on this one. Again, I'd like to know the names of the people they've used. Are
Well,
they saying Kate Chastain, Oxycontin for 5? I mean, I don't know.
I just know that this story has brought me joy. Just like you have this entire year.
Well, listen, we have a lot to cover next year too. So,
What are your predictions?
That's a really good question. My predictions are, well, I could use, I mean, Andy has said recently, I think we're good on franchises, but Housewives, it's just it used to be so good. And it's a little boring these days to me. I think we need a new franchise. I do. I want a new
Okay,
franchise, Melissa.
you and I were talking about this. Where do you think the new franchise should be? I said Las Vegas. And then I think you came up with the winner.
Nashville, right?
And it could spin off with more. Oh my God. It could spin off with Morgan and Kyle. We may have just solved this whole mystery.
Does Morgan, does she has, well, I mean, she's country music, so maybe does she live in Nashville
I have
part-time
no
too?
idea, but it would make complete and total sense for her to be there.
She'll start living in Nashville. I mean, that takes 2 seconds.
Do you
We
think
have
we should?
Kristen Cavallari. You know how I feel about Kristen Cavallari.
You've been saying she should be the next big housewife, and she lives in Nashville.
She really lives in Nashville. Like that's not part-time. She doesn't really come to LA anymore. She's a Nashville girl. I mean, she has this, I mean, her podcast, she's giving out relationship advice. She's wants to date someone. She looks the part. Kristen Cavallari. Can you imagine Kristen Morgan? We just cast it with two people.
Yeah, and Kyle dropping in to visit. Then we can have big crossover episodes.
Well, we can start the way like Vanderpump Rules started, where they spun off of like Beverly Hills Housewives. And it was what we could have Beverly Hills on, and we could have Kyle just like get on a plane and land in Nashville and see Morgan. And the next thing you know, we're not even watching Beverly Hills. We're in Nashville and the new show is launched.
Do you know? I hadn't even thought about that till just now. We may have solved a lot of mysteries.
Is
Starting
that
with
is that the whole reason Morgan and Kyle have been hanging out? Because Andy secretly has a plan to launch a Nashville franchise.
I think Andy is that smart.
I mean, really, listen, we haven't had anything down there, and it's like a different, the South, and I think we have Southern charm, but we haven't had like a real Southern housewives. It could be really good because it'll be like all these proper Southern ladies, and yet they'll be not proper at all.
I think it would be fascinating.
Me too.
David, I love you.
Yes.
Here's to 2024.
We had a good year. We're gonna have a great year next year, and we're not
And I
going
can't
anywhere.
Well, and I can't wait till January because all hell is going to break loose in Aspen.
All hell. We're gonna have to keep our eyes on Aspen in
Oh, and
January.
Salt Lake. I mean, come on. We got some skiing, girls trip. We are going to have a lot to recap in January.
Kyle will be all over Aspen. Kathy Hilton, Ramona hangs in Aspen. It's going to be like, there's going to be so much going on in January off air for Housewives in Aspen that we're going to have our eyes peeled.